Shannon, to your point about a lot of men don't want to teach, I think it's impossible to be in a long term relationship if you refuse to do that. And the men who don't usually, you know what I'm saying? That's all I want to say.
Yeah, yeah, because that's pretty much part of leadership, right? Real quick, Sweeney, I just wanted to address your point that you made earlier as far as like the buying a home. I was one of those dudes who actually did not buy a home until I was about to start a family. Once I decided, well, me and my wife decided that we were going to have children. That's when we went and was like, all right, let's go ahead and get a crib. And I'll say only because I didn't understand the value of it at that time. Right now, me knowing what I know, I would have gotten into that a lot earlier. But Shannon, to piggyback off your point, I can understand why she's such a turnoff. She's not coachable, and sometimes you just can't teach an old dog new tricks. Right about now, she's 40, man, and this is why men sometimes just will go with a younger lady because not just because she might be more beautiful, fertile, and everything else that's great about young women, but coachable because it's a serious headache, man. Like who wants that back and forth? It's so annoying. Right? And just part of our leadership, we want to lead. Believe it or not, contrary to common belief, men want to lead, right? And if you are not coachable, we can't really lead. You're stopping us from performing one of our primary duties. You in the way. And for you to push back and have contention with everything that I say is just not really tolerable. So I could see why she would end up being divorced. And right now, it's only going to get worse because she's going to be more set in her ways. And then when you add the fact that she's so accomplished and she's, you know, she keeps throwing her success out there, right? And this goes back a little bit to what I was saying before. She feels like she deserves more, but she doesn't understand where she stands in the marketplace. Like if you just take it up, like I know a lot of people think that there are actually more women. There's not way more women. There's actually more men on the planet, right? And even with all of those circumstances, we kind of jump down right to where we're close to even. So everybody, like Sweeney was saying earlier, you can't get one because there's something wrong with you. I said it once and I'll say it again. If you're not getting the results that you want, you must improve. There's something wrong with you. And she can't even see it. She has no ability to self-reflect at all. She doesn't even understand why she doesn't get the man that she feels she deserves. Right. And I know, Claude, you mentioned this before about how a lot of people relate to the money and they feel like that's what makes you equal. It's really not. Right. And because there are some men who she probably would be satisfied with if she would give him a shot. But again, those type of men are invisible to her. It doesn't mean that he's less masculine. Maybe he doesn't make 500,000. Okay, I don't make $500,000 a year. Maybe I make 150,000, but I know how to manage money. I got a savings. I got a retirement. I have more going with me, and I could probably help you freak it with your money, right? Because maybe I didn't have the same opportunity, but I know how to play with money, right? So there's certain things he can add to it in other forms, right? Just even if my wife started to make more money than me, it wouldn't bother me because I know that I am still a problem solver. I'm still going to find a million ways to make your life easier and better and more fulfilling. And she doesn't understand any of that. She's looking at like the money is right there. And that's a problem that a lot of women make, is that they really put so much weight into the money. And I understand you want to be secure, but you're already secure. You make $500,000 a year. What more security do you want? Why do you feel like you need to make that much money?
Because she can't brag about them to her girlfriend. And one of the biggest things with this is status. And so, you know, the irony is that a lot of these men have become the models for their women. So they become like the what they used to call the women, like the prettier half of them or whatever, the prettier half of relationship. So
My
the eye
better
candy,
half.
the better half with the eye candy. So now the men are the eye candy. So this is about going into these establishments she brags about, going to her sorority affairs, and all the women sitting there talking about their men. And so this is about status in that regard. So he can do all of those different things, but if she can't brag about him to her girlfriends, then she's considered a loser because considered to be dealing with a lesser man, just based on a caste system that made up out of, out of,
If those are
out
the
of
parameters that she's most concerned with, these superficial, surface level nonsense, then she's doomed. I'll just tell you that straight up. She's doomed.
All right, hold tight, you guys. Let me go ahead and continue playing the video. I got you, Professor. I do want to get Marcus and Hink in too on this next one, so we can continue having this discussion as a whole. But I want to keep the videos rolling just for time's sake to make sure I'm able to get it all in. So let me go and play this other one. So, but feel free to discuss whatever it is you want in reference to the videos. The next thing was, this is the one. Why is it hard for a successful woman to find an equal partner? Here we go.
Part about that is that the equally yoked man who's 35 that's making $500,000, he's probably already in a relationship. He's probably married. The ones that's not married, they're not necessarily looking for somebody that's 35. They're looking for the 28-year-old. So now it's like, okay, you're either forced with a decision to just remain single or look down. Now there is the truck driver. Now there's the UPS man who's a great man, but who's making $80,000 a year, right? Because now it's equal. It's hard to find that equal counterpart. Men, you could be 50 years old, and it's not. The age doesn't really matter.
No, and I've said this, and this is controversial, right? That because of the way society values gender roles, right? So the way in which we find a woman attractive, what are we really talking about under that? And it doesn't hurt my feelings. Let's just say it. People across the spectrum culturally, but we're talking about Black people, so let's center that. Black women are assessed around our beauty, our aesthetic, physical beauty, and there's biological reasons for that, and our fertility and our youth. Those are the main things that a man is going to be assessing when deciding if you are for him. And then it's going to be the quote soft skills. It's going to be, do you make him feel loved, catered to, loyal? Are you relatively non-confrontational? Not too much pushback or challenges around ideas and decisions. And those are the things that would really make you just highly desirable in the dating market as a woman. Now let's go to men. What makes a man highly desirable in a dating market? It is going to be financials. It's going to be your ability to provide financially and fiscally. It's also going to be your physicals, kind of your stature. Like there's a reason why, this 666 thing, I think that's really corny, but whatever. But there's a reason why a lot of women will swipe right on men that are at least 5'10", 6 feet. They want to feel there's some physical dominance coming from a man. Then you've got, just kind of age. There's a reason why older men, like you just said, bro, like 50 plus, that's not a deterrent for most women, because that presumes more stability. That presumes you've lived life longer and you can probably protect and know and help and navigate these spaces better and more effectively than I can in my youth. So you're right. Kind of the way in which we assess and evaluate value as men versus women create an inherent conflict. I will add one little caveat though to the scenario you laid out, where you've got these 35 and up women who've got these big incomes and degrees and all this stuff, but we're not necessarily as desirable to the men that are our age and financial equal, which is why personally I enjoy dating older men, because at 40, if I'm dating a man who's 56, there's more likelihood that he will appreciate some aspect of youth around me. Now, that same 56-year-old get a 28-year-old, it's possible. But I'm living this. I'm not just talking and writing about it, guys. I'm out here living this, and I have been for the last 4-ish years since I ended my engagement. I do find that can be a sweet spot for some women that are in that like 38 to 45-year-old range. Dating older men can kind of give you back some of that advantage around you.
All right, why it's hard for successful women to find an equal partner? Go ahead, Marcus.
I see the age gap now they loving the age gap. That's kind of funny. I agree with her though. I think that if she she was on point actually, as far as I'm concerned, because she understood the dynamic of where she was at. She understood the market. She understood where she placed, and she had a decent solution. Find men that are her senior by 16 years or so. I mean, That's a solution. That is a solution for somebody in that position. The only issue is if those men still want to have kids. But I'm sure she probably got a solution for that too. Surrogate and insemination. If she the men can have a kid, Shan. I see you shaking your head. I'm not saying the man can't have kids. I'm talking about the older she gets, will she be able to have kids? Because if you do it the right way, I think you need to at least be in a relationship a couple years, like 4 or 5, before you have kids. So you really get to feel this person out and see is it gonna work out so y'all can stay together long term to raise these children. But yeah, honestly, even though she could work on her tone, because I'm just not getting nothing feminine radiating off of her tone. It's very very stern, direct, and unfortunately, that's not what I would value.
She's a lawyer. What? She's a judge.
Yeah. That would be very difficult.
Trained, and ingrained in her over the last 20 years.
That would be very difficult to come home to, because again, I say this all the time, how much I appreciate women. And the things I appreciate women are not just sexual. That softness is something that you really, 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 really begin to crave when you get it. It's the smell, the touch, the way they move gracefully and effort. All of those things radiate why women are important to us in our life. And if you remove those things from you essentially are not making yourself the best version of a woman that you can be. And you're probably not going to be able to retain the type of man that you want. So if it was anything, I could say she was on point with all the information she had. Just, soften it down a little bit, baby. Just a little bit.